Do you celebrate any of the small or large victories or reward yourself at all?
No, I
Same. Maybe we can one day, just not
one
right now though.
day on our yachts.
Yeah, when we own our own islands. Hey, welcome to the Gifted Conversations, where I'm talking to people who are sharing their gift with those around them and the world at large. My guest today is Matilda Nwoke. She is the founder and owner of fashion brand Ama Nwoke. We talk about not wasting your talents, our skater boy style, inability to celebrate victories, supporting Black-owned businesses, and a range of other things. Need some new clothing to feel confident at your next cocktail party? Check out Ama Nwoke. Matilda, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate that.
Yay, thank you for the invite. I appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah, I haven't seen you since like the beginning of this year, and how things have changed.
I know it's like a totally different like world right now. The fact that like at the beginning of the year it was like new possibilities because it was a new year, and now it's just like a totally different time.
Yeah, crazy days for sure. Well,
Yeah.
we'll dive right into it. And I guess what I forgot to ask you beforehand, but as far as what do you like for a title? Do you like fashion designer, brand owner?
I normally like going by brand owner, like the owner of the brand or anything of that sort. It's fine with me.
Perfect. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I address you properly. Um,
Mm.
but so you're a brand owner and you started your own brand, Ama Nwoke. I'm just kind
Yeah.
of curious if you could kind of tell me a little bit more about it and what you're doing with it.
Yeah, so Ama Nwoke came together in like 2016. That was like the beginning of the development phase in terms of like logos and websites and just like the background work that no one really likes. And then within the past few years, I've been gradually doing smaller and smaller capsules. The pieces are really to highlight women to let them know that there is a classy version of clothing that we can wear from day to night. And so I created Ama Nwoke in that light, and then it's slowly but surely been taking baby steps, and hopefully one day it makes it to the top.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm cheering you on, and just
Yay.
looking at the site and some of the work that you've done, it's really stunning. And throughout this process, I know that you were saying that you have to wear so many hats, whether that's like designing, social media marketing, event coordinating, all of the above.
Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of role to do?
My favorite kind of role is the design aspect, but I also only like a specific aspect of the design portion, which is like the inspiration and the creation and like the sketching aspect, and seeing if your idea can actually become real. And so I like that aspect, but to be truthful, I don't really like any other aspects other than that. But as an owner, you have to wear all those hats, even if you're strong in that field or not strong in that aspect of ownership.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And with some of the things that I'm doing, there's certain aspects that I just live for. I want to do that all day long. And then
Hmm.
there's all that kind of unglamorous stuff, which I'm going to ask you about a little bit later, that nobody sees, the behind the scenes stuff that you just have to get done in order to make something run.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I noticed about the brand is kind of like the big, bright, vivacious colors that you're using. There's like
Hmm.
some really beautiful, bold, like purples and greens. Saw some
Hmm.
reds in there. Why did you choose to go with that aesthetic or that particular vibe?
Um, I'm not really sure, to be truthful. The way it works is after I've like sketched something, I then go through this phase of like what colors translate well to me. And normally for the past 2 seasons, it's been bright colors. It just happens that the seasons that I do have coming up are a little bit dimmer colors. For the past 2 seasons, they've been a bit bright colors. And it's just the fact one of the reasons is because New York is so big on like black, blue, and gray.
Oh yeah, I'm wearing all black
Hey,
right now.
yes. black, blue, and gray. And so I think when I designed those collections, I just wanted to be a bit of sunlight, a bit of sunshine, or a bit of light within the norm that we normally go through on a daily basis in New York.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And that's coming from somebody who wears black 6-7 days a week. So
Yes.
those colors. So I'm excited to see. You said next capsular season might be some dimmer colors.
Yeah, and I'm working on a new collection now, and it's as you grow, so does your brand and your perception of your collection. And so right now the colors are a bit more mature and a bit more tamed, where before it's a lot of fun. And it also depends on the season as well. It just happens I'm designing for fall and winter right now, which means that those colors that I currently have do not pertain to fall and winter.
Yeah, that makes sense. The work never ends. Good for
Yes.
you. That's awesome to hear that.
Yeah.
What kind of emotions or feelings are you trying to evoke in the pieces that you create?
Huh. I really like the idea of having from the past pieces, I wanted to break the norm of how suiting or suits were seen as. And so that's why a lot of my own last collection was mostly suit pieces, because I wanted to play around with how suits are normally black, gray, and the normal colors. And so I added a little bit more flair with ruffled sleeving, with bright buttons and brighter colors, just to have a little bit more fun of being able to transform this from day to afternoon to night. I wanted to basically make the suit as the modern cocktail outfit that you can basically wear no matter what time.
Brilliant. And those suits, I kind of want to put some money aside to get one of them. Those are so beautiful. I love those so much.
I'm creating some gender fluid pieces. I'm really, really excited. A lot of my guy friends are always like, when are you going to make us some pieces? So I'm definitely creating some pieces that are definitely gender fluid, and anyone can actually wear them.
Perfect. Yeah, let me know. Although I've been known to wear a lot of female gendered clothing. My pants are all female gendered. So seeing some of those suits, I'm kind of I'm not afraid. Those look amazing.
Yes, that's awesome.
And I was looking at your site, and you mentioned the term boundless ambition. And I'm reading this book on yoga, and the word boundless comes up a lot. And I think that's a powerful and a great word. So I'm just wondering who, if you could give me maybe a public figure and then maybe a friend of yours, who kind of comes to mind that embodies that ideal
of boundless ambition. Okay, so a public figure to me would be Michelle Obama. So one of the reasons, yes, right? One of the reasons I mentioned that, because I remember either watching a documentary, and she mentioned the fact that, after her and President Obama were no longer in the White House, she still went and actually finished her education. I think she received her doctorate or a PhD or something along those terms. And I thought to myself, wow, this woman has and had everything. I mean, she was literally the first lady, and she was still striving for more. And if she's still striving for more, then what are the rest of us doing, right? She's still going after being in the White House and after being one of the most popular women or influential women, and she still was looking for more improvement and for additional things to add to her list. So I was very impressed by that. So it would be definitely Michelle Obama.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Kind of embodies just power in general. I never read her book, but I know that she was doing that book tour that was selling out stadiums.
Yes.
So even my favorite rock bands can't even do that, and she's out there crushing it. So
yeah.
So you're mentioning some of these outfits and pieces that you're designing to be able to kind of transition from let's say morning to afternoon to evening, and maybe some cocktail attire.
Yeah.
And then, hearing of people like Michelle Obama, when you hear the word confidence, what comes to mind?
When I hear confidence, I really think of like an inner spirit, your inner animal, right? Like everyone says, what is your spirit animal? That's really what I think of when someone decides, selects their spirit animal. And like, this is really like your confidence within you. This is your alter ego. You know, Beyonce had Sasha Fierce. This is like the inside, the little interior person that we all have that's like, you can do it, you know, just go for it, or just, you know, you are looking amazing. And even on days that we don't feel, you know, confident or feel beautiful or feel ambitious, this is the like the inner spirit within you that's like, just go out, you're amazing, just do it. So you know, one of the reasons why I designed these pieces is to act as an additional shield of like, hey, you know, you might not feel good inside, but I promise you this suit will make you feel great outside and inside. So just go out and just do it.
Yeah, especially you brought up the suit. I mean, how can you not feel confident in that thing? That thing is
right?
amazing.
Yeah.
And so you're busy outfitting a bunch of other people, but what's your personal style like? What's your go-to outfit?
I'm like t-shirt and jeans. I would love to be in a t-shirt and jeans at all times. Unfortunately, that's not possible. If I'm not in a t-shirt and jeans, I'm in leggings and jeans. I prefer to be very comfortable and very casual as possible.
Sure. I'm similar with you, kind of t-shirt jeans. More often than not, black on black is the go-to thing I'm usually into.
Yeah.
Did you always know that you were going to be a brand owner and designer? And what was sorry, go for it.
No, finish your question, because there's probably another gem in that question.
Part two was going to be what was the scenario? What was kind of like that catalytic moment where you're like, I'm taking the leap. This is what I'm going to do.
I've always known I wanted to be a fashion designer, and I wanted to own my own company. I think my parents finally found out when I was like in middle school, like in middle or elementary school. I remember telling them I wanted to move to New York. And at that point, I didn't really have that much of a concept of New York. I just knew that was where dreams were made from watching like, you know, childhood movies and things of that sort. So I just had that idea. And then, of course, parents always had this idea of like, you know, going through school and so forth and so forth. So I went through that general phase of going through school. And then after school, I was working in like property management. And I remember being like 21 and having what I thought was a lot of money, and having what other people would think would be like the ideal situation, like having your own apartment, you know, living with your partner, and just being like content and making what you would say is like enough money to keep you happy. And I was so unhappy. Like I just could not figure out why I was unhappy. I had basically all the ingredients for a happy life, but I just wasn't happy. And then I decided one day that I was going to break up with my partner. I was going to quit my job, and I was going to move to New York. And I think I saved like $3,000 from like my job. And then I pieced out and moved. And I was still paying 2 rents for both apartments, one apartment in New York and one apartment in DC. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made, was to make that transition.
Nice. Well, and how long have you been in New York now?
I'm going on 5 years in New York, and I can't believe it's been 5 years. Time flies like crazy, but now I've been in New York for 5 years now.
Nice. Yeah, I think I'm coming up on 6 this year, so kind of in the same time frame. Hey, right back at you. Yeah, we're out here hustling, making things happen. And that's amazing, and good for you to have the courage to kind of chase what you want. You know, some people kind of never are able to do that. I'm
more fearful of the regret of not. I'm fearful that like in years I would say, oh, I wish I coulda, woulda, and that fear scared me enough to make the move.
Yeah, That's important, and I think a little bit of me as well. I had
Yeah.
a small opportunity to move here, and it's like the amount of pain I'd have had I not taken this opportunity. I was
Yeah.
moving here and dealing with all that outweighed all that kind of nervous energy that I had to
Yeah.
make it here.
Yeah.
Uh, so you always knew that you were gonna, own your own brand and um and
Mhm.
and do that. Have you always been creative and imaginative? Like some of these garments that you're making, those I don't even know where you start to like think of something like that. They're so forward thinking to me.
I think I have. I mean, li- literally any and everything inspires me. My poor phone has so many screenshots. There's so many like, any and everything that I see, I'm like, oh my God. And I take a picture of it and I screenshot it and every link and all those things. So any and everything inspires me. And there's like a moment in which, multiple things inspire me and cause me to think, oh, I can add these multiple ingredients to create one garment. And sometimes it's not possible. It just happens that, a lot of times it is possible, or my clothing production team just makes it happen. They never push back. Well, they do push back. We normally find a middle ground where I'm like, oh, I want to fly. And they're like, well, technically you can't fly without a plane, and then they're like, okay, let's fit in the middle where we'll get you a parachute or something. Like we find a common ground to make my ideas into actual reality. So
Cool. Great.
yeah,
That's awesome. And what is it about fashion that you chose this as your medium of expression?
it literally is the only thing that makes me happy. I really don't know how it feels not to know what your purpose is, because I've had this one purpose for the longest time.
So now that you said you started kind of late 2016-ish,
Hmm.
so you've been around for a few years now, coming up on
Yeah.
4 years of my
Yes.
amazing arithmetic. What is one lesson that comes to the top of your mind of like one lesson that starting your own brand has taught you?
Um, One lesson has taught me that you can literally do anything. Like the universe has a way of like aligning or working with you once you set a goal, right? I mean, you can either say the universe or God or whomever, you believe in, but as long as you set the goal, it has a miraculous way of, making things happen and, allowing people to come into your life. As long as you are working towards it and you're taking these small steps, I definitely see that anything that you aspire to be, it definitely starts working out for you. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to be hard, but if you persist, then it's definitely going to continue to prosper.
I would agree with you on all those fronts. Hard
Yeah.
times are definitely coming, but I too am a proponent of believing in the universe and kind of setting intentions and going
Yeah.
going following through with that. Speaking of hard times, what's a trait that you've had to develop on this journey so far in order to run a successful brand?
I'm still like a work in progress. I mean, laziness is one of my hardest, one of the toughest things that I need to overcome, especially like laziness on the weekend. I'm now getting to a point where I've been setting a routine, especially since being quarantined, of like actually waking up and making your bed and sitting at your desk instead of sitting on your couch and trying to write a little miniature to-do list, even if it's just three things a day, trying to get through those three things within that day. But one of the toughest things for me is not being complacent and just laziness, not making excuses for all the things that I could do instead of the things that I should be doing. So,
Yeah, I definitely have my bouts with laziness as well. I
yeah.
try to be on the go and making things happen, but sometimes some couch time or bedtime is just it's much
Yes.
needed.
Yes.
Regardless of the laziness, what you've done so far, and obviously this is kind of a never ending journey.
Mhm.
What you've done already is really impressive. So firstly, congrats again. Like that's awesome.
Thank you.
A-
Thank
And I
you.
say that because, you know, I learned the hard way that talk is cheap. Everyone's
Mhm.
got an idea, but so
Mhm.
few people actually execute anything or go for it or,
Mhm.
do anything in general. So you're mentioning some of your earlier times, but have you always also been a self-starter or self-motivated?
Yeah. I mean, my friends would. I don't have that many friends, but out of like the two friends that I have,
It's good to keep a small circle.
yeah, out of the two friends that I have, they would definitely let you know that I'm always constantly the person that I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna do this. First, and this is probably an issue that I also. I mean, this is a positive and a negative. I've always been, as a child, been like, I'm going to do this, and I've never noticed the fear that other people encounter when they set goals. And so I'm always like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor if that was the case. It's not. But I've never, I'm just like, okay, the next step to being a doctor is, studying, taking this class, blah, blah. I've just always been that person where I'm like, I'm going to do this. And then, okay, how do I make this happen? Okay, the first step is doing this, doing that, doing that. So that's just how I go through in life.
Nice. Yeah, you enjoying the process or understanding the process. So that's great.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
I'm notoriously bad at this, but with some of the hard work you're talking about, and then achieving some of the goals you've done, do
Mhm.
you celebrate any of the small or large victories or reward yourself at all?
No, I,
Same.
I, I mean, I'm really bad, and I don't know if this is due to the fact that I'm a Capricorn, or I don't believe in astrology, but I'm not sure if I don't reward myself. I'm always jealous of all of my friends and family members that do take vacations and do reward themselves, because I wish I could do that, but I really don't feel as if I'm deserving of a reward until I hit a certain point. And so until then, there will be no vacations. I just don't understand the concept of like, congratulating yourself now, when you should consistently continue to work so that you can congratulate yourself for the long run, right? I can't go and party with my friends now when I can work now and end up being like an Amazon. Like Amazon, Facebook, they weren't going out and partying every night. I just don't deserve to reward myself right now. Maybe in the future, but not right now.
Yep, I know all too well how that goes, and I'm
Yeah.
very similar in that, where I, no matter what happens, sometimes I just can't justify, I don't know, the vacation or taking a weekend off or
Yeah.
anything. I don't know why, but I should work on that a little bit. But
No, yeah. I mean, a mini vacation is definitely needed, but I can't frivolously have a vacation each weekend. Like I just can't.
yeah, maybe we can one day, just not right
One
now though.
day, one day on our yachts.
Yeah, when we own our own islands.
Yes.
Uh, what do you hope to inspire others with what you're doing?
I'm hoping to inspire others to just love themselves boldly. I'm hoping to inspire confidence in women. It just happened that my clothing fits all different shapes of women, and it's very classy on all different shapes of women. So I'm hoping to inspire all women to love themselves, regardless of what shape, size that they might be, especially through my brand.
Hell yeah. I think that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's beautiful. I think you touched on this a little bit earlier, but as creatives and artists and business owners, a lot of times people see they mostly see the final product, in the sense like when they're on
Mhm.
your website they see these beautifully designed clothing, or they'll maybe see some like fun behind the scenes photo shoots. What's some of
Mhm.
the unglamorous stuff that goes into starting your own brand that maybe some of these people don't see?
I mean, what's really hard is there's a lot of Excel, especially when you're a small team. As of right now, I'm a team of one. So I do all of the work, right? So
Same.
all of that includes a lot of unglamorous items like creating a budget to make sure that you are not frivolously spending money when you're not making enough revenue to balance it out, you know? A lot of the non-fun things, which this is one of the top of the things I procrastinate on is tech packs. I don't enjoy tech packs. I enjoy the sketching aspect, the sourcing aspect of the development phase of clothing, but I just don't enjoy tech packs, you know? So there's a lot of...
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. What is tech pack? What is that?
Yeah, so a tech pack is a technical design packet that you basically put together for your production team or for whomever that's actually sewing your pieces. When I first started, I was sewing each piece by myself. However, New York is really expensive, and so I have to work to be able to afford to make this happen. So I have a team that does actually like sew my pieces together, but for them to understand each measurement, color, and what ideas I have to create a technical packet for them to be able to follow along. And that's one of the parts that I don't enjoy.
Yeah, that kind of sounds complicated.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, you said it. So you're talking about ideas for a second there, and I'm curious, where do you find your best ideas come to you? I know I'm one of those like shower people that has to run out of the shower to write shit down because I think of stuff. But when do you think of stuff?
That's so cool. I seem to work really well at night, like 10 p.m. to like 6 a.m. seems to be my most productive time frame. So I seem to work really, really well at night. I also seem to get some ideas like around like 11, 12, 1 a.m. And I always say to myself, oh, I'm going to remember this when I wake up in the morning, so I'm not going to write it down. And I never remember it. So I definitely need to start doing that movement. Yes.
Yeah, I've often found bursts of inspiration, late at night. And then I find a lot of it in the morning, and then I never write any of it down. And then in the 15 minutes that I'm up, like whether it was a song or a song idea or something, it's like, oh, where'd it go? I just had it.
Yes, it's the worst. Oh.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, but let's say when work is over or there's nothing else to be done, what do you think about in your off hours, or where does your mind kind of wander?
I haven't hit the point where work is over and there's nothing else to be done. I can't wait to that moment. But I relax my mind at night to three things. One is Law and Order of SVU.
The show.
And it's like old, the old rerun, like from the beginning, like.
Nice. I've never seen it, but nice.
Oh, wow. That's that. And then there's YouTube has like this rain soundtrack. And so that normally calms me down at night and relaxes me. So I do those two options at night.
Yeah, the like soothing sounds. I've definitely done that before.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the universe a little bit earlier. Do you have like a spiritual practice or a meditation practice?
I don't. I'm not religious in terms of like church, the institution of religion, but I am very in tune with like God and having like an internal relationship with him and conversations with him, because I really believe I believe I make a lot of stupid decisions. And so I know for a fact that there's no way I would be this far in life, or my stupid decisions would have turned to this type of prosperous energy without God or without some type of universe force, guiding my way. So, I mean, if on a day-to-day basis, I would have probably gotten hit by a car like 5 times if it was up to me.
Oh no.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm
So,
happy you've got somebody or something looking out for you because we don't want that.
yes.
All right, let me see if I can say this properly, but at the moment, it seems like finally it's on people's radars to kind of just to support Black-owned businesses and be
Yeah.
more vocal about that, which, finally, I think that's great. I think we should be doing that and should have been doing that for a while.
Yeah.
Have you seen any extra love or exposure from friends or from some media or anything lately?
Yeah, this time frame, like I mentioned at the beginning, has been super crazy. What first started with COVID-19, and then the death of George Floyd, and then of course with all of the injustices that has been happening left and right. With the outcome of us just bringing more support to Black-owned businesses and Black-owned brands, there has been an influx of like support. I mean, I remember Rebecca Minkoff, shouted my brand out, and she owns like this huge multi-million-dollar accessories company. New York Fashion Week gave me a shout out, and we shared some of my content. I was on like Pop Sugar and a few other like websites as well. And all of this happened in a time period of like the past 2 weeks. And so for a small little brand like mine, it is definitely appreciated because I've never seen this amount of support in so long. No matter how much work or how great your work is, it's normally like the gimmicky brands that take off. And so
Yeah.
it is really great to actually see that, your work is being appreciated. It just happens that even with like the shout outs and likes and stuff like that, unless something actually changes within the institution to allow more Black brands to actually enter, it's still going to be extremely difficult for Black brands to actually like prosper unless something actually changes within the institution. So I hope with all this protesting, something does change.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm with you, and yeah, it's just been a crazy couple of weeks, and it seems like there's progress, but granted, this is not a 2 week, 3 week thing. We're in this for fucking
The long
generations,
haul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
little by little we're getting there, but
Yes.
I'm happy that people are showing you some love, especially like
Yeah.
bigger. I know Pop Sugar a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they have a big platform, so that's cool that they're showing you love. And
Yeah.
also much
Definitely
deserved
appreciated.
because your work is dope and it should be talked about
Thank
because
you.
it's just phenomenal. Um,
Thank you.
of course, yeah, my pleasure. And I was going to ask you, what does it mean to you to be a Black female-owned business or entrepreneur?
To me, it means like wealth, One of my biggest fears, and I normally don't say this to anyone, it's an internal conversation that I have, but one of my biggest fears is that, having a Black child, and not being that Black child having a difficult time coming up, no matter if, things change or whatever, or doesn't, unless there's some type of wealth within my lifestyle or within my life, my children will have a difficult time growing up. And so I thought, okay, the only way that I can give them a better life is to create wealth. And you can only create wealth if you own something, if you own a house, if you own your business or things of that sort. And so I'm hoping that all of my hard work results in, owning a company that's prosperous that I can either pass on to them or that it makes enough money that we can live a comfortable lifestyle.
I mean, beautifully put. That's powerful. And not that we'll see how what this podcast does, but I will do my best to try to put some extra eyes, and maybe people will buy some
Thank
stuff,
you.
but at the very least I can try
Thank
to
you.
just support and help out how I can.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
What's been a personal mantra of yours? Mantra?
I don't have one. I'm just like, whatever you want to do, just do it. Don't second guess yourself. Don't think of what if it doesn't do well, just do it. I really find it that whenever you start taking steps towards your goal, it just miraculously becomes easier and easier, especially if it's the right direction. Things just start happening. And if it takes 5 years, 10 years, as long as you consistently keep going towards it, it'll just happen. I feel like there's also a cycle, right? There's a cycle in which everyone gets their turn. And so even if your turn is not, tomorrow, next year, or whatever, if you keep going through that path, eventually it would be your turn. And that's all you need is just a one turn to be able to actually make it. So I just believe that you should just keep going.
Yeah, you were talking about how, everybody gets a cycle and you just got to kind of keep going and keep pushing. And I have always thought about that AC/DC song, "It's a Long Way to the Top if you want to rock and roll," which I was involved in a band for a while. But in kind of anything, it's just if you want to make it happen, it's it's a long way to the top. But you just have to get there once, though. You just need one of those cycles, like you were talking about, and then
yeah.
Regarding some fashion, what's a fashion piece that you wish you had created?
So the kimono to me is very like it's one of those fashion pieces that just seems so simple, but it's just so it's so like it can make an outfit, right? It's easily an outfit. So either the kimono or the wrap dress, which is like very simple. The concept for those two items were very, very simple. And till this day, I can imagine people will make money off of the kimono and, the wrap dresses forever. I think it was Diane von Furstenberg that designed the wrap dress. And her and her family are going to make money off of that for many, many years to come.
Yeah, I know the brand a little bit, but it seems like she's set for forever, I guess.
Yeah.
What's a fashion trend that you currently like?
I personally do not follow trends. Like I said, my uniform is like jeans and a t-shirt, and my t-shirts are like skater boy t-shirts. They're not like,
the best. I love
they're
that.
They're not like anything special or anything of that sort. So I really don't follow trends. Whatever I see that inspires me is what I move forward with. So, yeah.
What about a fashion trend that you dislike, if there is one?
I can't really think of one right now.
I'm putting you on the spot, so that can be a little bit difficult at times, especially with a question like that.
Yeah. I really don't have one right now. Something will probably come to mind when I'm not thinking about it, but I definitely can't think of one right now.
For sure. All good. We were talking about some of the colors that you use in your brand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's your personal favorite color?
My personal favorite color as of right now is like beige, and I'm very plain in terms of like the colors I normally like. Like I think my apartment is like light and black mostly. But when it comes to like clothing, I just have a totally different feel for clothing for others.
Sure.
And clothing for myself is like minimal.
Awesome. What's your go-to drink?
My go-to drink would be water, coffee and water.
Nice. It's healthy of you.
Yeah. The first thing I drink in the morning is coffee, and then coffee throughout the day and water throughout the day.
Nice. Staying hydrated.
Yeah.
That's great. Good for you. That's important. I've been trying to drink a lot more water over this whole year in general.
Yeah.
Turns out I feel better when I drink water as opposed to like tons of booze or something.
Right. And I just can't drink as much as I think like back in the day I could drink. Now if I drink, I'm just not going to be productive. So it's just like, what's the point?
Yeah, samesies, very much so. Regarding the brand name and then some of the names that you have for your articles of clothing, there's like the peaches and cream top, there's like the boss suit.
Hmm.
How do you come up with these names?
Each like piece really has its own like personality. And so like depending on, it's almost like how people select names for babies. It's like, these clothing pieces are my babies. So when I see them, I can sense the type of personality, name, and what I want the person that buys this piece to like feel like, and the feeling I want to evoke in them. And so that's how the name is selected. And then sometimes it's like friends and family members that a piece might remind me of, and then I might name that piece off of them.
Great. That's awesome. I've enjoyed the names of the pieces. And you just put out a bag.
Yeah.
Is that the
Yeah.
first one? Are you trying to branch out into some other pieces other than garments, like accessories
Yeah.
or?
Yeah. I just put out some leather goods, some leather bags that come in two different handles. One is gold handle and the other one is smoke gray metal handle. And so I put those out, I think 2 weeks ago, and I'm working on other accessories as well to add to the options of pieces that we offer on the site. Because I see that not everyone can afford to get a suit. So it makes sense to have an array of products to be able to cater to as many people as possible.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing what else you put out. That the bag is
Thank
really
you.
it's really elegant. It's clean. It's nice.
I'm obsessed with the bag. I'm not a purse person, but I really, really like these bags. It's like the perfect size because it fits like a 13-inch MacBook Pro inside of it. You can still fit your wallet. It's not too big like how normally like big leather bags are, but it's just big enough to take your essentials in. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah, it's practical. It looks great.
Hmm. Thank you.
Of course, yeah. What's the best piece of I can't speak tonight. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I've ever received. Okay. Someone mentioned to me that talent means nothing if you do nothing with it.
Mm,
And so I thought to myself, because through life you always say, well, this person came from a better family, or this person had money, or things of whatever. This person was 6 foot and was talented, or the natural born talents. And you just have to think to yourself, the only difference between you and this so-called natural talent person is the fact that you have to persevere and you have to be persistent in your path. And so no matter if you're not born with talent, as long as you're persistent on your path to greatness, you will persevere. So I definitely thought that was a very powerful statement, because talent really means nothing unless you persist and persevere.
I absolutely agree with you on that. And I think I'm one of those people that really needs to make sure to persist and persevere because
Yeah.
I don't know about my level of talent, but
Don't waste it. If you have talent, don't waste it. You definitely have to keep going.
yeah, absolutely. Uh, Pushing forward one day at a time.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're mentioning that you have two friends here. Are
Hmm.
they both in the city?
One lives in like Brooklyn. One actually lives maybe like 20 minutes away from me, 20-minute walking away from me. And that's, yeah, yeah.
Nice. So I was just kind of curious if you had like a little bit of a support system here in the city and if you've recruited them for help on certain projects regarding your brand.
Um, yeah, my friend Val is probably like my main support. She lives, like I said, maybe 20 minutes away. She's really like well versed in like packaging. Or she, I throw ideas to her all the time. I'm just like, oh, I was trying to do this and I couldn't do it, just in like conversation, passing conversation. And she's such a great friend that she, on her off time or as we're talking, she's already doing like a million Google searches of like how to resolve this conflict that I'm encountering through my business. And then as we're talking, she's sending me all these links, and I'm just like, oh my God, thank you, thank you. And she does that a lot. And so I'm very, very thankful. It is really hard to find friends that want to help, because there seems to be this sense of like, we're in competition with each other, and it shouldn't be. So I'm very, very blessed to have her, because she helps me out all the time.
Yeah, that's gold. You definitely want, even if it's just a very small crew of people that are there to, no matter what, lift you up however way they can, without all that like backstabbing and competitive thing that people do.
And I think you met Val. That was the friend that I brought to your event. So yeah.
Is her handle the F is 4?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. And she's an artist?
Yes. Val also designs like she designs prints. So she has a lot of like prints out there for like for bedding, stationery, and things of that sort. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah. That's good to know the context. But yeah, she was very lovely when I met, so that was awesome. I got just a couple more for you before I want to be mindful of your time. What's something that you've always wanted to do but you haven't yet? I know I keep putting you on the spot with some of these questions, so thanks for being a good sport about it.
No problem. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is to be able to like be on an island and freely walk around and, just enjoy what life is, because what is the purpose of life if you're not, living it? But one of the things that I wish could really do is, that's probably it. I just would love to enjoy life. I would love to take a moment to actually like enjoy life on a vacation, or have a Kardashian moment where they're like on vacations like every weekend, so I would love that aspect, but maybe one day.
Our cycles are coming. We just gotta keep pushing forward. So we got this.
It's almost our turn. It's almost our turn.
Exactly. Have you had any pinch me moments from starting this brand?
Every small thing really excites me. My poor parents, anytime I get a sale, I'm like, oh my God, Dad, guess what? And he picks up every time, even my mom as well, literally every single sale that I get. I'm like, I just got a sale, blah, 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 blah. So every single day or every single purchase or any like the smallest thing is always like a pinch me moment. It was really exciting during that 2-week time frame when all of these fashion brands that I looked up to when I was coming up, were supporting my brand and shouting my brand out. And so that was very, very, those were my pinch me moments. I literally was calling my parents like every 5 seconds, like, oh my God, New York Fashion Week just shouted me out. I remember when I used to skip school to come to New York to participate in New York Fashion Week. So it was just very like, those were definitely my pinch me moments.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, I was looking at your site or just the internet in general with like some of the mentions that you've gotten, and those are high profile things that you've been shouted out from. So that's awesome.
Yeah. They're definitely appreciated.
All right. And then I'm just kind of curious, this is kind of like a 2-part question, but so far, are you enjoying the journey so far? And in the next, let's say 6 months to a year, what do you have kind of coming up or going on?
One of the things I definitely thought at the end of last year and beginning of this year was that I was going to go through this year 100%, putting my 100% effort through this year. I thought to myself, since you've been alive, you've only given 50, 60% towards this dream. And one of the things has always been like fear of like judgment and things of that sort. So I thought, why not? You've done it this way for 28 years. What are you afraid of? These are the results you've gained in 28 years of living your life through this path. And so, through this lens. And so just go through a different lens. And since then, I've definitely seen a huge difference. So I'm hoping that this year definitely brings me more publicity, more of a reputation for the brand. And I definitely brings my brand in different eyes and in different spaces that I normally would not be able to be in if the brand stayed stagnant. So, yeah.
That's powerful. Hell yeah. When are you trying to launch this new collection?
I have maybe a month more where I have to finish out the tech pack. And then I'm trying to launch it around like the November time frame. And so around like November time, I should have these pieces, at least the samples and everything fully done by then.
That's amazing. Well, that's something incredible to look forward to.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Matilda, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you hanging out with me and chatting.
Yay, thank you so much for the invite. This conversation has been amazing. So thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Yeah, anytime. Well, I'll be in touch and we'll talk soon.
All right, bye. Talk to you later.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Gifted Conversations. If you like what you heard, please subscribe, tell a friend, or leave a review. Or if you hated it, feel free to tell me to fuck off or leave a negative comment. Anything is welcome. Appreciate the support, and I'm sending you positive thoughts and energy.